Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday. My name is Sarah Barnes-Humphrey, and I am super excited to be back here with you today on Tuesday for Thoughts and Coffee. I'm the founder and host of Let's Talk Supply Chain podcast, digital media company, as well as the host of Blended, which is our new podcast about diversity and inclusion, as well as the CEO of Ships. And every Tuesday, we come on and talk about the hot topics in supply chain. But first, before we do that, I do want to talk about what is going on at Let's Talk Supply Chain this week. All right, so we have a brand new episode. I spoke to Brad from Demand Driven Technologies all about the demand-driven methodology. And we really talked about how it's helping their customers, what they're doing in the industry. And so if you are curious about demand driven, I would highly, highly recommend that you go and check out this episode. We even talk about how that methodology might have helped with the empty shelves of toilet paper. So go and check that out. It's episode 190, wherever you subscribe to the podcast, or you can go and check it out on the podcast page over at letstalksupplychain.com. And we have this category filter. So if you're looking for any solutions for any of your supply chain challenges, go and check out this category filter, because you can find businesses and companies talking all about their solutions for those challenges. So go and check that out. What else do we have? We have the Apex mini series. So we just finished the Apex mini series, and let me tell you, it was amazing to learn all about Apex and what they're doing for sustainability, what they're doing in technology, what they're doing in sales and marketing and human capital. So go and check that out. It's episodes 182, 184, 187, and 189 as well. Plus, we've got some upcoming events happening. I think next week. Is this one next week? This one is next week. So April 6th, I'm going to be part of a round table talking about supply chain tech. We do have this post over on the Let's Talk Supply Chain LinkedIn page. So if you want to go and register, you can through that link. We also are promoting Manifest. That is not coming out until January 2022 in Las Vegas. It's going to be in real life, people. They made a mistake on my name, so I'm definitely getting that fixed right now. But if you do want to register and check it out, go to that link in on the LinkedIn, the Let's Talk Supply Chain LinkedIn page. Next, I also want to give a huge shout out that the Suez Canal is now not blocked. We're going to be talking a lot more about that in down the road in this episode, because I think there's a lot to talk about here. But one of the posts that I saw on LinkedIn that I did want to share with you guys is from Michael Vandermeer, and he is from Hyundai, and he talks about what it means for this incident. So go and check that out. I will post this link on the comments for this show a little bit later on, so you can go and check that out. All right. So I'm just about to bring on my guest. Let's do that now. Hi, Shawnah. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks. I'm super excited for you to be here. This is the first time that you and I are meeting virtually. But you did comment on my raise your hand post. And when you did, I was like, yes, I would love to have her on the show. I want to introduce her to the community and talk all about supply chain. So why don't we do just that? Why don't you do a bit of an introduction so everybody can get an idea of who you are and what you do?
Perfect. Yeah. So thank you again for having me. I'm definitely excited to be here and to talk all things supply chain. But yeah, quick background on me. So I've been in logistics about a decade. I actually started in back office support though. So I've done all kinds of things throughout finance, credit, collections, accounts receivable. Realized that's not really where I wanted to play. So I jumped to front end of business and, working with people, helping build just some amazing businesses. I worked a lot with the freight agent side of things and helping them grow their freight agencies and really just connecting people to businesses and the recruiting side, marketing, social selling, all kinds of things like that. Definitely found my passion. Man, I got my feet wet at Global Trans, which I know you just had Rhonda on this,
Yes.
I think the last episode, which I love her. So I was there for, gosh, I think like 7.5 years. That's where I really learned the industry and fell in love with the industry. And, I got to the point where I just like, what else is next for me? And so I've known Brent Orsuga for years, and he's out here locally with me in Scottsdale, Arizona. He's been recruiting for over 20 years in this space alone, and for 11.
Wow.
And so I was like, hey, I just want to pick your brain, what else is out there for me? And we ended up deciding to partner up together. And so now our main focus is really helping the most talented individuals in our space get connected with some of the best companies in our space.
Cool. I love that. And we're going to be talking a little bit more about that because I posted an article last Monday, I think it was, and it's got a lot of traction, and we're going to be talking about that. Just want to say a shout out to Sean and Peter who has joined us over on my personal LinkedIn page today. Thanks for joining us. All right, so we are going to get started with the question of the week. So we ask this question every single Wednesday morning, but because we're Thoughts and Coffee, we get a bit of a head start on that one. So the question of the week this week is going to be, what is the one piece of advice that you would give the next generation of supply chain? Shawnah, over to you. What is the one piece of advice that you would give somebody, in college or university, maybe in the supply chain management program, maybe they're younger and they're looking at supply chain as a career? What would that be?
I think that the future of supply chain really depends a lot on sustainability and technology. And so getting in front of those two things and really learning every aspect and determining how you can be a part of that change could really give you a leg up. So, a lot of the companies right now, they're really focused on how can we transform our supply chain? What types of technology can we use? Blockchain, machine learning. So yeah, really putting yourself out there and thinking outside the box and how you can play a part in that, I think will really give you a leg up in the industry.
I love that. And I think, we all need to have some sort of leg up on the technology side, right? Mm-hmm. Because that's just where everything is going. Davin is over on my personal LinkedIn page. Hey, Davin, so good to have you here today. I think for me, the one piece of advice that I would give them is really to just get started, just get in the industry. You might have an idea of where you want that career to go, and that's fine. But I think coming out of college or university, not really understanding what the opportunities are, because I feel like there's so many more opportunities than we think there are. And just by getting into the industry and getting your hands dirty and figuring out what part of the industry you are the most passionate about and gets you the most excited about waking up in the morning, I think you really just need to get in and get started and figure it out along the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think, that's what I did. I had no idea what I wanted to do, and I just started to kind of pick up all of the pieces of the different departments and really, get my hands dirty, I guess, if you will, and learn what I was most passionate about. So yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Love that. All right. So now we're going to my Thoughts and Coffee post from Sunday. And my I decided to write about this because I finished recording Blended, one of the next episodes for Blended a couple weeks ago. And one of the things that Sabrina said to me was, "Thank you very much. I really feel heard." And it struck me, right? When do you feel heard? What does that look like? And how can we let other people know what they can be doing so that we can make everyone feel heard? Because really, at the end of the day, that's what we want, right? Human beings have a deep biological need to belong and be heard. And that's what I wrote in this post. I also gave a few tips as to how I do it, just to see if we could put that out in the industry so that we could have more impactful conversations. And we've had some great comments on this post. I know, Shawnah, you were talking about an example of when you felt heard. Do you want to talk about that and what that actually meant for you?
Yeah, so actually something recently, and I actually posted about this too, and it was a little more of a personal thing for me that I wanted to talk about, and it was the post that I was speaking on about being called intimidating. And so I for whatever reason, like a few weeks up leading up to that post, I had a lot of random type conversations with some of the men, more specifically, in our industry, who had made that comment to me. And I really was reflecting on that, and I was trying to figure out, am I putting that type of vibe out? Or I always really try to just be my authentic self, so I would never want to come across in any negative way, of course. But I wanted to post about it to see, what I could gain from all of my different followers and anyone else that I was connected with. And, I really just got some amazing feedback. I actually had a lot of people reach out to me personally, which that's how I felt the most heard. They shared their own stories with me of times where maybe they had been told similar things or felt that same way. And just knowing that I wasn't alone and sharing those personal stories, I really felt connected and felt like, that's how I felt heard. It really was.
Yeah,
it's hard in the digital space though, right? And you can't always have that eye contact and like that active listening. So I guess that's how I would recommend it, is reaching out personally and sharing your own stories and connecting at that deeper level.
Yeah. And I think when you're talking to people, it's really just about, and I've said this before, leaning in to understand rather than leaning in to reply. A lot of times we're like hearing what they're saying and we're like, what am I going to say back? But I think really by hearing somebody, whether you agree or not, it's okay to disagree. It's totally okay. We don't have to agree on everything. But I think just listening and then reiterating what they're saying so you can get clarity on what they're saying without jumping to conclusions, that's how we really make an impact. That's how we really have great conversations and we make sure that everybody feels heard, whether we agree or not. I think that's a really big point, right?
Yeah. I actually had a gentleman who commented he sent me a message. It was very, very long. And he wasn't, I guess, going against what I was saying, but he was asking a lot of questions. Yes. And so I was actually very excited to respond to him. And we went back and forth for a while. And it's just interesting because everyone has such a different perspective on things, especially when it's just text that's out there. So, taking that time to talk things through with people and like you said, to learn and to reply thoughtfully makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. I just want to give a shout out. We've got Kevin over on my personal LinkedIn, Ram and Joanna. Davin even says, thanks, Sarah. Love my thoughts and Coffee Tuesday. Davin, we love having you in the audience. So thank you so much for joining us today. All right. We've got a lot to get to. So I think we're just going to dive into these supply chain topics. Yeah. So the first one is Amazon. Okay. So I don't know if you guys heard of this. You guys all know that I love the hustle. And so when I saw this article, Amazon is using virtual pets to entice warehouse workers. So my question to the audience today about this one, would you want to live in this future? Because when I read this article, the first thing they say is, I don't want to live in this future. And so let me give you some context about this article. So what they're talking about is to entice productivity and to entice workers, they're gamifying the parcel, the packing boxes that they're doing in Amazon's warehouse. They know that they are several years away from full automation. And so they're trying to keep productivity at all-time high. The challenge that I have with this is that what they're getting in return for playing these games is virtual pets. They're not getting time off. They're not getting extra money. Like, I really don't understand this because having real life pets, I know that they're a lot of work. So why would I want a virtual pet as a bonus? Shawnah, can you just dive in on this? Because maybe I'm totally missing the point.
No, I mean, when I first read this, I actually had to stop, go back and reread it because I was like, did I really just read this? First of all. No, I mean, I feel the same way. I am all about promoting productivity and efficiency in the workplace, of course. I just don't know. I mean, for me, anyways, if this is the way that I would do that. And I think, what you said, I would work better and be more productive if I had some tangible items that I was working towards, right? So, I mean, if you want to give me, like you said, additional sick pay, additional vacation, maybe a bonus, a gift card, something like that, I know I would probably work a little bit better that way.
Harder, yeah.
Yeah. But also, I commend them for wanting to help with the repetitive tasks. And I'm sure that things can get a little tedious working in that environment. But it also poses the question of, could you potentially be putting these employees at risk of even in like some type of dangerous situation? Are they going to be distracted? Are they going to be overworking themselves? Because another point of the article, they said they're actually pitting the employees against each other. And now I'm all for, having a little bit of competitive edge. But in an environment like that, where there are some dangerous job functions, where do you draw the line there?
Yeah. Well, and they were talking about at the end of the article, and we're going to put the article in the comments, right, AJ? Just so you can go and check out the article. But at the end, they're talking about injuries. And how this is causing injuries. Davin says, pay me in Tamagotchis. I have no idea what that is, but okay. So I'm guessing that Davin is pro virtual pets.
I do remember back when I was a child, we had like those little like gigapets, or I think it was like a Tamagotchi or something like that.
I have no idea.
I was also 5, what I mean?
Vitaly says, something tells me warehouse workers would be better enticed by better working conditions, job security, or higher wages. Yes, we absolutely agree with you on that one. All right. Love that article, but we are definitely on to the next one. And let me tell you, this one got a lot of traction when I posted it. So we are talking about this article in Transport Topics. Maersk can't find enough women to pursue top jobs. Let's talk about this, Shawnah, because I'm also going to show you. So I posted about this and I got 95 reactions and 82 comments. This thing, there were people on all sides of the fence that were talking about this. And the question I want to ask you as the audience, was this a publicity stunt? Or does it have merit? I want to hear from you because some people said it was a publicity stunt. Some people said that it had merit. And then there were other women that actually went in and tagged people that would be viable for this position, which I loved. I love. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who did that, because that's what we want to be doing in this industry. Shawnah, over to you. What did you think of this article?
So this is a topic that I hold near and dear to my heart. I actually posted something about women leaders in our industry several months back, and it too had gained quite a bit of traction. I think that there's definitely a little bit of controversy, as you'd said, on maybe how it was put out there. However, that aside, I do believe it shed light on an issue that is very real in our space and should be talked about. I printed this out because this is from that article that I had read when I was prompted to post my post. We have had so many more women entering into the workforce. That is absolutely true. However, in 2018, still only 14% of women held any type of senior leadership role, whether that's like an SVP or something in the C-suite. 14%. And that's across all verticals, countries, just anything in logistics in general. So whether the wording was correct or how it was put out there was politically correct. I think that it really did shed some light on an issue that we need to discuss, because I feel like women definitely deserve to have a little bit more play in this space. Why not? We have a lot of amazing women that can do just as amazing of a job as anyone else that is doing, or running any type of logistics company. So one of the things that I really wanted to mention that Jim Snade had said, the biggest challenge, he said, that not enough women come up through the management system. And so I know a lot of people said negative things about that. I took that as maybe he just didn't know how to communicate that to some people, which is fine because it's just perception, right? But I can personally attest to this, gosh, it really comes down to, for me, I feel like the courage and support. There is an issue if women feel that they can't go and apply for these types of roles, or they're nervous to, or they don't feel like they have the support. And so what it really comes down to internally for these companies, what types of leadership programs do you have in place to help prepare people for those types of roles? What types of additional benefits do you have in place for working moms and for women that could allow them to have those leadership roles, but also still have their family life? Because of course, a lot of women still are playing very active roles on that side of things as well. So maternity leave, flexible work arrangements, all of those types of things. What do you have in place? And also, what is the culture like on the floor? Have you gone and walked through the halls of the company? Do you have that open door policy? Are you allowing for people to give a little pushback and to bring up ideas outside the box and to, have real constructive conversations around process improvements and things like that? Because that's where the focus really should be. And so however it is that we got there, I think it is important that it was brought up.
Yeah, I would totally agree with you. And I think some of the comments in that post were people that were raising their hands to be considered for the position. So hopefully, if Maersk is listening, they will go and check out that post, because there are some great candidates on there. They were also making suggestions as to where you could be looking, because one of the questions that I had is, where are you looking for these candidates? Some of them talked about some of the women's organizations in shipping, right? You've got WISTA and you've got WISTA International, but you've also got WISTA chapters all over the world. You've got FIT, the Forum for International Trade Training, which is not necessarily women, but they have a lot of women in trade. You've got OWIT, right, which is also women in trade as well. So many amazing organizations. And they were also talking about looking at supply chain management programs in different universities and colleges. So as much as there was disappointment from a lot of people in the comments, there was a lot of rallying around and being like, listen, we can help you. Don't know who you're reaching out and who you're talking to, but let us help you. And this post was just, an example of what we do as a supply chain community. Like, amazing, amazing, amazing. So let me ask you, before we go on to the next one, as a recruiter, what would your advice be to Maersk?
So, basically, kind of going back to what I had just said at the end of my last note, really dive into your current internal processes that you have in place and peel back the layers. What are you doing and not doing to support the different women that you already have? Because retention is a huge issue. And you really need to first start there before you can then also work outward. So focus on what you already have, what you can improve on. And then, by all means, what you had mentioned, go out to these different organizations, the universities, reach out to even trusted recruiters, not just anyone, but really find somebody that is in, this space that has been around and understands. What a lot of companies don't understand is we're not just here to get you placements. A lot of times we're behind the scenes just coaching the different companies just as we are on the candidate side as well. So, we just want everyone to work together and, to have the best jobs. So however that ends up working out, I know I can speak for a lot of other recruiters as well, that we'd be happy to play a part on whatever side that is to make that happen.
Yeah, we've got some passionate supply chain professionals over on my personal LinkedIn page having a conversation about this and bring up some really good points. Peter and Davin and so many more over there. I think it's something that we're going to be talking about for a while. But I think, we need to bring light to it. I also think that they need to get involved in the community with some of these posts, right? I did the raise your hand post. I've done this post. There's a lot of great people raising their hands and tagging each other. And if we just get into the community and get engaged and get involved, we're going to be able to help find those people and help you find those people as well.
Yeah.
All right. So last but not least, we are talking about, what are we talking about? We're talking about the Suez Canal. All right. So this article is a little bit old, right? Because this is talking about how it was being blocked. But then I'm going to show you a newer article that talks about the investigation that's going on right now. I'm showing you this article because I thought it was interesting as far as the stats. So a couple of things that I wanted to mention. 12% of global trade goes through the Suez Canal, and 5 to 10% of that is crude oil. What that equates to is 106 vessels a day going through the Suez Canal that were tied up because of this blockage. Now, a lot of people were talking about how that it was potentially because it was a mega vessel. I think one of the things that we have to look at is whether they have the capability for these mega vessels. I mean, hopefully they would have done that earlier. But one of the questions that I want to pose to you, because last week was full of memes about the Suez Canal, I want to know, what was your favorite meme about the Suez Canal? Because I saw so many and I just thought it was absolutely hysterical. I mean, obviously this is not, a funny moment or a proud moment in the shipping industry. And there was a lot of people that were firefighting and going through a lot of stressful situations. But I do think that there were some great memes. Davin sent me one yesterday that I think we're hopefully going to be using this week. But I want to know from everybody in the audience, what was your favorite meme? And I think we'll also talk about what this investigation means. This is a newer article talking about what it looks like moving forward. So Shawnah, do you have any take on this? What did you think about everything that was going on with the Suez Canal last week?
Well, first of all, it could not have been any worse timing. I mean, with already just how tight capacity is. And I mean, it posed so many additional issues with tremendous delays. I mean, billions of dollars lost, supply and demand issues. I mean, the list goes on of just how terrible this affected our industry. And I think, the positive to this, though, was that I feel like maybe it raised a little bit of awareness into the true complexities of our industry. And maybe some people on the outside can have a little more appreciation, to our industry, because we have to deal with these types of things on a daily basis. But something like this happening can cause major trickle-down effects. Hopefully this also raised some awareness into how can we prevent something like this from happening in the future. So, I mean, I know this has obviously been one of I think it is the main port through that entire area for all of the international shipping on that side. But I mean, is there any other way that we can create another passageway? Can we extend that? Are there different technology plays that we can use to prevent, any other malfunctions from happening on these ships? Like, what else can be done,
Yeah. Well, and I think that investigation that they're going through right now is really going to be quite telling as to whether it was human error, whether it was weather related, what really ended up happening, and what it means for the Suez Canal moving forward. One of the things that I do want to show you guys is that we've got a running poll right now over on the Let's Talk Supply Chain LinkedIn page about the Ever Given and about the Suez Canal. And we want to know from you whether it was human error, air, weather, or other. And we want you to comment below and let us know what you think that is. Right now, human error is winning out at 62%, but we definitely want to hear from you guys. So go over to the Let's Talk Supply Chain LinkedIn page. AJ, can you put the link to that post in the comments so that everybody can go and check that out? Otherwise, it's this Thoughts and Coffee goes by so quickly every single week. But let me tell you, I loved this conversation today. Shawnah, you are amazing. I'm so glad that you could join us today and share your insights, share your thoughts. If you guys aren't following Shawnah, please go ahead and do so on LinkedIn. She puts out some great posts about all things supply chain and recruiting and sales and marketing, and you will love that. So thank you so much, Shawnah, for joining us today. Thank you to everybody in the audience for joining us today. We will see you next week. Audrey's going to be joining me again, and we're going to have all the hot topics in supply chain. So go and have an amazing week, everyone.